Welcome to the Transformational Podcast. We are so glad you're joining us again today, wherever you're at, whether you're in the car working out or just doing some task around the house. We are glad you're joining us, the Marine from Maryland, and Chris, the pastor from Paradise. We're glad to be with you.
What's happening?
And we're just, it's funny. We were just praying that as God uses this podcast, that he would use it in your life in a way to influence the way you daily live. In other words, that it would be, we use the word transformational, that it would transform your mind, that it would renew your mind so that you can learn to have a closer walk or in a closer fellowship with the Lord, because that's ultimately the goal of this podcast. That's why we started it. That's why we continue it. And frankly, we're going to go through something Chris read this week, because that's kind of the way we do. That's the format of the podcast, is to try to say, okay, what's God teaching you, or what God did bring you through, and then we just talk about it and have a conversation. Today's going to be definitely very conversational. I think based on what we're looking at, looking forward to it. But before we do that, let's start with Grace Flag Football. You got a cool shirt on there.
Yes,
pretty awesome.
We kicked off
this
morning. First game of the games of the season. We had a double header, which was
okay,
a blast. Won one, lost one, but even on the one we lost, great game. Had a chance to win it. With 2 minutes left, down 5, we threw a pick on going into the end zone, and they took it back to the house and beat us by 11. So we had a chance to go up by 1 or 2, depending on what we did. And instead,
you're
we
+7
went backwards.
-7.
Yeah. So it was a lot of fun. Like, our team is a lot of fun to do this with. And, but the league is very balanced. The first game we won, but it wasn't an easy, it was not an easy game.
That's good.
It probably won't be an easy game this year. So, everything.
Yeah, it's never fun. Yeah, it's never fun to have an imbalance in the league where there's the one team that just dominates all teams, right?
And that's what we try to do intentionally is level the teams. And so I like it that it's leveled. And we've got some challenges that we'll work through and learn from. But it was a lot of fun. It was a good week.
That's cool.
And then Brock had his first actual tackle football game this week. Oh, and Barrett, listen, it's been a fun week to watch the boys. Barrett, so I went to Gunner for Brock's first scrimmage at tackle football, 7th grade. He did great. Played center on one side, played nose tackle on the other, had a tackle. One of the first plays of the game, or of his series. And so he did great.
Pumped?
He was pumped. Yeah. I mean, it's all new to him. And so the more he played, you could tell he just got comfortable, more and more comfortable as he played. So that was good. And then Barrett had a great game. He played defense the whole time, played one short series of offense because the other quarterback got the wind knocked out of him, and did awesome. Was getting hit and throws a dime. It goes literally right through the guy's hands, and it just happens. That's a lot of pressure, but threw a dime while under pressure, and so and played good. But then at the end, he had a game clinching interception to seal the game. So so it was fun. He was stoked, and we were stoked for him. So it was a fun week to do all things football. It's that time of year right now where we think way too much about football right now. So it's fun.
Oh, I got you. Yeah. Well, cool, man. Well, this week I was back over at the school. I got another 3 weeks of the school. It's not exactly the favorite thing that I do. But one of the evenings I got invited out to go pickleballing.
Oh, nice. So you gave me all this hard time. But you did it with me at Broken Bow. Yeah.
I did. I pickled with you at Broken Bow.
That's right.
Anyway, well, yeah, man, I spent like 2.5 hours pickleballing that night.
Nice.
I was so sore. And, part of the reason I was pickleballing is because the school is a little bit about relationships. It's about building relationships, having friendships. And so went out with them. That was a really good time. It was fun. we oh yeah, we didn't cover this because we recorded before we did this. We went to Busch Gardens last weekend.
That's right.
And Chris, I learned a lot about myself that day. You want to know one of the main things I learned?
What's that?
At my age, you start looking at roller coaster and you ask yourself, how much is this one going to hurt? Not can I do it, but how much am I physically going to hurt when it's all done?
Robert, as a student pastor, I rode so many rides, and we went. I still remember the last time I went with a group, and I got to where, like, it was. We went on a day where it wasn't very busy, and I got to where I was like, "All right, y'all ride this one. I'm gonna sit this one out. I'll ride the next one with you," because I was like, "Yeah, I can ride them, but I don't necessarily want to anymore."
Yeah, right.
It's not a big deal, but I'm I've done all the rides I necessarily need to do. But
yeah, it was funny. There was one where I was like, yeah, I can't do that one. I can't do that one. I know it hurts. I've run it before. It like whips you around, meshes your head up.
Yeah.
And it's like physically jarring, not like messes your head up, right?
Yeah.
So Hillary
beats you up.
Yeah, Hillary set out with me. The 3 kids went out on it. It was really funny. They come back a while later and they're like, we got stuck on the ride. I'm like, I'm sorry, what? They're like, yeah, the ride like stopped halfway through and we were stuck on the ride in an uphill.
What?
Yeah, they got hung on a ride. And so they had to wait there till the ride restarted and then it finished and then they got off and they had to do maintenance on the ride.
I might have been done after that.
Well, they told me that ride beat the living tar out of them. They said it was painful. And I laughed and laughed. And I was like, well, that's why I didn't do it.
Yeah.
We did. It was a rather empty park. So we rode, Chris, we rode 3 roller coasters in the first 90 minutes. No, 4 roller coasters in the first 90 minutes. Guess what I did for the next 30 minutes?
Recovered?
I sat down and recovered. I was not ready for that.
Yeah. There's something, it just changes. You get older and it just changes. Robert, I get dizzy doing one of those little circles when you're getting on like an entrance ramp for a highway. Like if it's a circle, dude, I'm like,
okay, I'm not that old.
I'm just saying, man. I don't know that I would say I'm not that old. I just say,
okay,
my body's just not as conditioned for those things as they once were. Anyway, yeah, that's tough. That's tough.
Well, let's jump in.
Hey, hold on. What did you tell us about before? Oh, you talked about pickleballing and relationships. Something, just a little fun fact. Did you know?
Yeah.
That, when it comes to building relationships, there's a saying that either I made up or someone made it up, and I don't remember who.
We'll give you credit. Go ahead.
But girls are made to sit and stew, while guys are made to go and do. And here's what I mean: is that girls?
Yeah, you better tell what you mean.
No, it makes sense. Girls build relationships better in like sitting around and talking and chatting and whatever. Guys build
stew in the negative sense.
No. They sit and no. I like stew.
Yeah,
Stew's good. Yeah. But guys are made to go and do. Like when guys go and do, that's where they build relationships. So anyway, just to add to your point of why pickleball.
It's true. It's true. Yeah, it was kind of funny that day. Now you got me talking about what part of the story. So part of the story on that day was we were at the class and somebody had a kind of a negative reaction to one of the videos that we had watched. And have you ever seen like someone have a negative reaction to something and you're like, what you had a reaction to doesn't necessarily match what's going on inside, right?
Right.
And so as Christ followers, I think we should be in tune to that. I think we should be in tune to that more than anyone else. And so I went internal for a second. I was like, Lord, help me see like what's going on here. Like, what is it? And in this person's eyes, God showed me it's way more than what's being talked about. Like there's something under the surface here that's way more than what's talked about. And the fact was I think what was the problem was this person, a little longer in career, probably 5 to 10 years from retiring, had some life goals, wasn't necessarily getting to those life goals, and had negatively reacted to the idea of teaching, the next generation to work hard. Not because the person had a problem with working hard, but the working hard in and of itself for the sake of working hard seemed defeating. It seemed defeating because this person had spent their entire career working hard and hadn't gotten to the goal that they wanted, right?
Gotcha. There was no payoff for what they thought
no
it was
payoff.
coming. Yeah.
And God gave me an opportunity, because it was the video was about the Duke basketball girls team.
Yeah.
And the basketball girls coach was like, hey, there's, hard days, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I had the opportunity to speak into that situation from the perspective of, we need to teach our kids to build their life on something more foundational. And that foundational is I said, for me, is I'm religious. And so I was like, so I have this thing I build my life on, and it's not being a Marine. I was like, I get to be a Marine, but that's not what I build my life on. And I was like, unfortunately, we teach kids to work hard, but we teach kids to work hard without giving them something solid to stand on, so that when they get to the kind of the end of their career, the culmination of their life, they get to the top of that ladder or the top of that building, they look down and there's nothing there.
Yeah, they build an identity that gets taken away at the end.
And I said, so, we need to teach the next generation that it's more than that, there is a foundation. I was like, religious or however, I was like, now me, I think it's religious. And so I kind of went on, and it was a, I could see how God used it, because it was a setup for a conversation that I had on Friday. So that was a Wednesday conversation. And then I had a Friday conversation, and the Friday conversation, I had an opportunity to tell the class through a series of events of how God healed Annabelle from her leg calf perthes. How one night she couldn't walk, we prayed for her, and the next day she was right as rain. And how the medical industry just couldn't fathom that.
How did that
That's
work?
A 1 to 2 year process. It takes 1 to 2 years to heal from that disease. It like, and the doctor just couldn't get it in his head, and he's like, I just don't know what to tell you. And I said, when he told me that, I said, and this is what I told the class, I said, well, we prayed for her on a Friday night, and she was good on a Saturday morning. God healed her.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
It's clear.
And so if you look at like the through line there on the week, which I didn't get to see until Friday later on, is the setup discussion on Wednesday, where I talked about building our life on something other than our work or our job or our destination, but building our life on something that's eternal as a strong foundation. I got to say that on Wednesday, and then I got to be really a lot more articulate. Like, hey, I got to tell the story of how God healed Annabelle. And it's just a story, Chris. It's just a story. It's a true story. God set that up. I didn't even bring it up.
Yeah.
Someone said, hey, has anybody had a kid who had to go through an MRI machine? And I was like, well, yeah, I did. And they're like, oh, tell us about that story.
Wow. Perfect.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so,
that's cool.
Yeah. So I took the opportunity. So anyway, to your point, I went and played pickleball that night, partly because I felt like there was a relational aspect to the morning that was kind of like a through line through the day. And so I think I was taking an opportunity to do what I think the Lord was asking me to do. Aside from the fact that pickleball is fun, don't tell anybody I said that.
Yeah. Your secret's safe with me.
Yeah. Yeah. And our friends. Anyway. So yeah, that was kind of something when you talked about relationship building and the rest. And then I think how God uses us in our daily life. I think that's one thing that I saw this week.
Yeah.
What have you been reading?
Well, to set it up today, I want to tell you like something that I think will relate. At flag football, one of the new rules this year is that if you're rushing someone, now to rush someone, they have to start 7 yards back, and there's basically a way of marking that and letting people know where to line up. But you have to start 7 yards back, and the rusher has to leave their arm up until the ball is snapped, and it lets everyone know,
hey, I'm rushing.
They're rushing. Now, what that does is now, on the offensive side, now I see who's rushing, and I know, all right, hey, this is what adjustment you need to make. I can tell our quarterback, like, we have ways to respond in those moments. And so what I read was this last week is kind of like that. Is Jesus saying, hey, let me tell you about what's coming, but also let me tell you how you need to respond. Like, here's what you need to know, and here's what's important. Because it's in Matthew 21 was actually, I'm sorry. I was actually in Luke 21.
Okay.
Is where I was. And it's the passage right before Jesus has the Last Supper with his disciples, and he's basically kind of trying to prepare them for what's to come. But this is something that he talks about. He talks about the future, about when the Lord's return. And verse 21:7 says, "Teacher," they asked, "when will all this happen?" Talking about the end times coming. And
yeah, I think he
basically
just
he
talked
says,
about. I think in the chapter prior, he'd just say, "Hey, this whole temple, everything you see,
yeah, it's all going to be destroyed,
all coming down." But anyway, go ahead.
And so it says, "Teacher," they ask, "when will all this happen? What sign will show us these things are about to take place?" And he goes into a bunch of stuff and tells them, "Hey, you're going to see these things. You're going to hear these things." Now, these things were for them, but they were also for us. And
Yep.
that's what's interesting, that they're for us. And he tells them the different signs and different wonders. Verse 20, "And when you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies, you'll know that the time of destruction has finally come." Like, he tells them all these things, and that things are going to get kind of bad.
And I think you're right, real quick there. It was for them and us, right?
Yeah.
So part of it was a prophecy of what's going to happen in, I think, 77 or 70 something AD, where the enemies are going to destroy and literally level Jerusalem to the ground. There's going to be nothing left.
They completely removed every stone of the temple.
Yep. But it's like most prophecy and even the Old Testament, there's a then and a future. There's a then, a now, and a later. And this is I think, now there's a lot of different opinions on this. I don't think that's the point that we're trying to make.
No.
I think the point we're trying to make.
I'll get to that idea here in a second.
Yeah. So anyway, go ahead.
But basically, verse 28 says, after he lists all these things, he says, "So when all these things begin to happen, stand and look up, for your salvation is near." And then in verse 29, then he gave this illustration. "Notice the fig tree or any other. When the leaves come out, you know without being told that summer is near."
Indeed.
In the same way, when you see all these things taking place, you can know that the kingdom of God is near. Tell you the truth, this generation will not pass from the scene until these things have taken place, till those things have begun.
Yeah,
right? They began. He says, "Keep alert at all times and pray that you might be strong enough." Sorry, I jumped ahead. Here we go.
I was going to say,
I was like,
verse says.
I was like, wow, how did that happen? Right, so verse 33, "Heaven and earth will disappear, but my words will never disappear." And then verse 34, here's how you respond.
Yeah.
"Watch out. Don't let your hearts be dulled by carousing and drunkenness and by the worries of this life. Don't let that day catch you unaware like a trap. For that day will come upon everyone living on earth. Keep alert at all times and pray that you might be strong enough to escape these coming horrors and stand before the Son of Man." Now, here's why I say that. As a pastor, don't you know, I've been asked no less than a dozen times, with all the wars going on around Israel, hey, what
is it now?
Is it now? Is it the time now? Are you going to preach on end times? Are you going to, and here's the thing that I always, respond with. It's hard to know exactly what all those things mean and the timing of all those things, because for generations, you can look back and how many times there have been, well-meaning pastors said, "Time is now." I mean, we're talking generations of people. The time is now. Look at all the signs that were lined up. No, here's the deal. We're going to continue seeing signs. And if it's now, it's now. But we don't know. Here's the deal. If you think about all the prophecies explaining the way that Jesus was going to come, spelled out in the Old Testament scripture for generations, and then when he came, those who knew the prophecies better than anyone else, so many of them completely missed them.
I'll give you one better, Chris. They not only knew the prophecies better than anyone else, but they told Herod where to look for the kid, to look for the king.
Yeah, they
based on the prophecies.
Yeah. And when they found him, they're like, they continued to find ways to say, "Nope, it's not him. Nope, it's not him." And some of it was, it didn't align with
what they wanted,
what they wanted, their expectations, how they expect him to come. And so one of my things that I wrote was that the signs tell us when the end is near. Our job is to be ready and don't get caught up chasing worldly pleasures or worries while we wait. Here's the deal. It's not about us becoming, uh, trying to predict the timing. That's not what he tells us to do. He
Right.
says it should let you know that that it's coming, that you need to be, it should be one of those reminders that, hey, here there is an end coming. So what do you need to do? You need to watch out. You need to be prepared. And there's other passages about this. Do you have any of those?
Yeah, I got one of them pulled up. Matthew 24. He goes in to more of the same. It's kind of a different perspective. It's Matthew's version of what we're talking about.
Right.
In Matthew 24 verse 36, he says, "But about that day or hour no one knows, not even the angels in heaven, nor the Son, but only the Father. As it was in the days of Noah, so it will be at the coming of the Son of Man. For in the days before the flood, people were eating and drinking, they were marrying and giving in marriage, up to the day Noah entered the ark. And they knew nothing about what would happen until the flood came and took them all away. That is how it will be at the coming of the Son of Man.
Mm-hmm.
2 men will be in a field, one will be taken and the other left.
Mm-hmm.
2 women will be grinding with a handmill, one will be taken and the other left. Therefore, keep watch, because you do not know on what day our Lord will come." And so I'll pause there. So I think, Chris, one of your things that you said the signs will tell us when the end is near. And I'm going to paraphrase what you said. Therefore, that should remind us to be ready. It should remind us to be ready.
Yeah.
And so if you look at the signs, are there wars and rumors of wars? Yeah.
Yep.
Got rumors of wars. Check.
Yeah.
Got it. Are there all kinds of natural disasters? Check. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Got that too. Is there a falling away? Yep. Check. Got that too. So got it. But here's the thing that it should do for us. I don't think it should put us into this like, okay, now let's break out the secret decoder ring and the what is it? Eat more Ovaltine. You know what I'm talking about from the Christmas story.
Yeah.
We're not getting out the secret decoder ring and finding out where we're supposed to eat more Ovaltine. We're getting that picture, that sight picture, that what I just described. Israel's now in Israel, right? Wasn't in Israel until in a single day a nation was born. By the way, the fulfillment of a prophecy. So they're there. There's all kinds of other, we'll call it prophecies that are kind of lining up. A lot of opinions on how those prophecies should play out. I get it. We should be looking at that. And in fact, it says that the believers will have an idea. They'll have an idea of what the season looks like because we've been told and we've been watching. But what it doesn't cause us to do is it doesn't cause us to worry. It doesn't cause us to sit and wait, hunker down, go get some meal prepper stuff. It should be causing us to be about the Father's business.
Yeah. Yeah.
It should be
and I love the
encouraging
idea.
us to be about the Father's business. Go ahead.
Yep. Sorry. There was a little lag there.
Yeah.
I like the part of watch out. Like be alert, be ready. Don't get caught sleeping. But what he tells us there in Luke 21 is don't let your hearts be dulled. I love that.
Right.
By what? By carousing and drunkenness, by the worries of this life. Like, don't get caught up in the things of like the culture around you that you just begin to forget that you're not living for here. You're living for forever. Like you're not, your here and now is not what matters. And I mean, it's easy, Robert, to get caught up in the here and now, carousing and drunkenness. But here's the other part, the worries of this life. That's what reminds me, when Jesus is talking about possessions and he's like, hey, don't worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will take care of itself. Doesn't today have enough worries of its own?
Yes, it does.
I take care of the birds of the air. I take care of the flowers of the field. Don't you think I can take care of you too? But then he turns that even to, hey, you can't serve both God and money. Seek God above all else.
Yep.
And I'll take care of you. But that's like, I feel like those two go together. The danger is we get caught up concerned about, what are we matching what the culture looks like? Are we wearing what we need to wear so we can, like, and I'm all for it. Like, I enjoy looking nice, so I'm not
no, you've been that way. You've been that way your entire life.
Like,
yeah,
it is
let's
what
be
it
real.
is.
Let's be real.
But at the same time, like, if we become so consumer driven that that's the end all be all, and if our kids are with the cool kids, and if our we're in the house or driving the vehicle that we want to drive, and like, we can get so caught up chasing the things of this world rather than chasing wholeheartedly the things of God, that we completely miss out on the very thing he's talking about. I think that, like, we think watch out, because it makes me think of 1 Peter 5:8, where he says, watch out, your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour. Stand firm in the faith. Be on guard, stand firm in the faith. And so it's like one of those things of going, I think sometimes I like the idea of being dulled, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're not aware. We're not. So I think about it like this. When I learned to play guitar, okay, when I was first learning to play, I would play for 30 minutes. My fingers would be killing me.
Be smoked, probably, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But the more I played guitar, it built up calluses, and then I could play on hours in it, and they didn't bother me whatsoever. Here's why: because little bit over time, I developed calluses, and here's the thing: the nerve endings on my fingers basically become dulled, and I can handle it. Here's what happens in our life: is we aren't pursuing daily to know God. We aren't making the things of Him more important than the things of this world. We slowly dull ourselves by going, okay, it's not a big deal. It's just entertainment. It's just movies. It's just, dude, I think some of it is that it's become so easy to become a consumer, because you can basically get anything you ever want, the click
Anytime
of your phone, and no money changes hands physically. And so you forget about it, and then you become overwhelmed because now you spend everything that God entrusted you, a bad steward. Like, it's just like I'm speaking not judgment on anyone. I'm speaking from me getting frustrated with myself, going, come on, Hurst, you know how to live on a budget.
You know better than that. You know better than that.
Come on, do better. So it's one of those things that I think we get so submerged in culture that we are dulled, and we lull ourselves to sleep, which is also an illustration that is used in Luke 12 when Jesus is telling them about his coming, the Lord's coming. He tells them, I'll jump there real quick. Luke 12, verse 35, be dressed for service and keep your lamps burning as though you were waiting for your master to return from the wedding feast. Then you'll be ready to open the door and let him in the moment he arrives and knocks. The servants who are ready and are waiting for his return will be rewarded. I tell you the truth, he himself will seat them, put on an apron, and serve them as they sit and eat. He may come in the middle of the night just before dawn, but whenever he comes, he will reward the servants who are ready.
What does being ready look like, Chris?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I honestly, I think that this is where it becomes probably like dangerous for us, because we could easily just turn it into religious behavior.
Right, into a checklist.
Whereas there are behaviors we can do to walk with the Lord.
Yeah, how hard is it to not want to do a checklist? At our school that I'm doing right now, Chris, we'll put a bunch of stuff on the board, and we'll say, what's important for leadership? And they'll put like 9 attributes on. And they're like, okay, now let's rank them from 1 to 9.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why? Why are we ranking them from 1 to 9? We said that these 9 are important for leadership. Well, so we know which one's the most important. And I'm like, but we just all agreed that they're all important for leadership. Like, we can't help and I actually said, I was like, we can't help ourselves. We just really, really want to rank them from 1 to 9. Why? So now we can create an action plan, and we can have our little steps, 1, 2, 3. And so when I asked the question, like, what does it look like to be ready? Like,
so let me turn this question.
Yeah.
What does it look like to have a healthy marriage relationship? What does it look like to cultivate a healthy relationship with your wife?
Right.
Because
Spending time.
I think it goes together, because the
Yeah.
church
If it's a
followers of
checklist,
Jesus.
if it's a checklist, my wife will know. If I'm just
Yeah,
checking the box, babe, just getting the check in
yeah,
the box. She's gonna be like, yeah, you can check this box.
yeah,
Bam.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's like, and look, there's some behaviors once again that are good. I need to pursue my wife and do these things, but I need to do it not so I can check the box off the list, but so I can know my wife, and
And
so
I
I
can love.
can care and serve my
That's
wife,
right.
and the problem is we turn it into a checklist, because our checklist is more self-serving. It's like, all right, what do I have to do? I can check it off and accomplish that, and then I've earned this place or this whatever. Whereas, it's saying, no, no, no. I just want to know Christ. What does he say? The first will be last, and become the servant of all. So what does it look like to not say, I'm going to do these things for God, so he'll do these things for me? Where we say, God, I just want to know you, and I want to serve you, and I want to walk with you. So what
It's
does
a
it look
heart.
like?
Yeah.
It's
It's
a
a heart
heart
posture,
thing.
right?
It's about saying, when you come to sit and read scripture, the reason I write things down day in, day out, and I'm asking, like, God, what do you want me to know? What do you want me to do? That's the question we talk about all the time. But like, God, show me. Talk to me through your word. Show me what you want me to know. Help me understand. What's something in this that applies to me now? What's something in this that I can grow from? Like, I want to know more about you. I want to know more about, like, what does it look like to walk with you? Um, but part of it is just allowing God to continually change you. Right? This is
Right.
like transformational faith is
Yep.
not a one and done. It is an ongoing thing. There's still things day in, day out that God is still teaching me. He's still correcting me. He's still rebuking me when I need to be rebuked. And as I read it, I'm like, oh yeah, I need to. So when I read Luke 21 and I write down, hey, be ready and don't get caught up chasing worldly pleasures. Like, don't get so blinded by, the next vacation, or, the a new truck, which I love my truck, by the way. I'm not necessarily looking for a new truck,
That's fine.
but
I'm out. By the
but
way, I'm out replacing spark plugs in my truck because I need to get it to go another 100,000 miles if I can
there
help
you
it.
go. But it's
Anyway.
just like one of those things of,
Yeah. Yeah.
like, there are seasons where I find myself so consumed with, oh, how am I going to get this, or we want to do that, or whatever, rather than, hey, God, you've entrusted us with all of this. How do I honor you with all of it? And being content with just, what God has blessed us with, and which, by the way, like, I am very grateful for what God's blessed us with, and all that. But it's just, it's so easy to get caught up in the rat
Yeah.
race, chasing
Well,
the
let's.
things that we think that will find pleasure, that will find satisfaction, because, man, we are given a hard sell
Yeah, we
that's
are.
where all that stuff's found.
Well, and kind of to that point, that hard sell, I think it brings me, we've talked a little bit about the nuance between it's a heart posture, it's being transformed from the inside out.
Yeah.
That there's things that we can do to put ourselves in the right position and place. And
Yeah.
I think in Ephesians, Paul says in Ephesians 6:10, he's talking about putting on the armor of God. He's talking about basically, hey, your enemy is not of this world, right? And so what
Mm-hmm.
he's trying to do is say, hey, there's something you can do as a Christ follower to be on guard, because it is a hard sell. It's a hard sell from the enemy. And one of the things I want to read it because there's one part that I like about this, because it's the nuance between heart posture, and you do still, there's things you can do to put your heart in the right position, right? And so,
Mm-hmm.
real quick, it says Ephesians 6:10. It says, "Finally, be strong in the Lord and in His mighty power. Put on the full armor of God, so that you can take your stand against the devil's schemes." That's the hard sell that Chris just talked about. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. Therefore, put on the full armor of God, so that when the day of evil comes, you may be able to stand your ground.
Mm.
And I love this. This is my favorite part. You may be able to stand your ground after everything after you have done everything to stand firm then.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes through the parts of the spiritual armor that you should put on.
Yeah.
And the thing that I always see there is, after you've done everything you can do to stand firm. It's essentially saying, hey, put on the full armor of God so that when the day of evil comes, you may be able to stand your ground. There's things you can do, spending time with the Lord and asking the Lord, hey, help me with my faith, Lord. Help me with my righteousness, Lord. Help me with my truth, Lord. Help me take the gospel to people who need it, because part of being ready, especially when you can see the flowers on the fig tree, the leaves on the fig tree, part of that is helping other people be ready too.
That's right.
Right?
Helping others get ready, for
Romans
sure.
10:14 says, but how can they call on him to be saved unless somebody tells them?
Yeah.
Right. And so part of that is, that's a part of being ready. But Chris, you're so right. We like to turn it into a checklist, and we like to make sure that we get the check.
Yep.
And it's a heart posture with we'll call it action that we can do to put ourselves in the position to be postured appropriately for that I don't know, that good relationship with the Lord.
Yeah. It's just being ready. So this morning, like the team shows up ready for flag football. They've got their cleats, they got their mouthpiece, they got their water, they got their flags. Like, so they put on the things that help them be ready. That's what that passage is all about. Put on the things that help you be ready. That, you know, that you lean into those things. And we've talked about that in one of the previous podcasts, the armor of God. I'm pretty sure.
Maybe not. Either way, it can be said again. It's fun.
Yeah. But it's allowing those truths and leaning into the truth of God to prepare you. Because Robert, here's the other part. Like, what I love is that he's going, here's some signs, but you watch out.
Yeah, exactly.
And stay ready relationally. Because here's the deal. I think that God will lead us. Like, if we'll stay ready relationally, then he'll lead us to know what we need to do, when we need to do it. Like, it's not like the servant was watching for the master's return. He's anticipating the return, ready to open the door when he gets back. He is in tune with the fact that, hey, my job is to be ready.
That's right.
And that's to me, when it comes down to just all this, you know, what's coming. Honestly, no one knows the hour. No one knows the time. Are there some significant things happening that could be? Absolutely. Not denying that at all.
Yeah.
Does it tell us? Does it spell it out? Not like some people would like you to think. So where there's clarity in scripture, lean into that. But
absolutely.
where there's figurative language and that's where you take a step back and say, God, I'm just trusting you to let me know when I need to know, what I need to know. And until then, I'll just stay ready. I'll stay ready, living for you, following you with all my heart and all my soul and all my strength, knowing that, man, that's how I stay ready.
Amen.